All right, good morning, Acadiana. It is the Schultz-Cast episode 48. I'm never going to be able to keep those straight because I missed the two in Louisville. Did get up really early to work out. That's insane, a 4:45 class. My alarm went off, slept through it, heard the alarm, and usually I just lay there for 2 or 3 minutes, waking up, fell back asleep. Did get up, was a pretty good workout, enough to where I'm not didn't need to feel the need to lift this morning. And I may catch a break. The weather looks like it doesn't look great right now. You look at that radar heading into Houston, and the weather just doesn't look good at all. We had that thunderstorm last night. We got a little bit more rain coming our way basically right now. But the thunderstorm gets past Houston and hits like Beaumont and Lake Charles, and it dissipates and then starts up again. So we'll see what happens. Let's see what time that is. All right. Well, I'm going to be in Beaumont by 10, and it doesn't look like it's hitting by then. But right after that, it dissipates. So we may be okay. All right. We'll see what happens. As for the weather, let's see what College Station is looking like for the Cajuns tonight. All right. Oh, that doesn't look very good right now. But they're not playing right now. Of course, A&M's playing at noon. That doesn't look very good. All right. There's that doesn't look very good at all. So it may be a minute. Let me see what they say hour-wise. It does not look very good at noon. If there's not a thunderstorm in College Station, it's close by. See what we got hourly. This may be a little bit of a trek here for the College Station regional. They're saying thunderstorms at noon, heavy thunderstorms at 1, scattered at 2. Yeah, so it may be a minute. I may not have to. We got to bring a pullover. That's for one thing. It's supposed to clear up later tonight, and supposed to get more rain tomorrow. And that doesn't look very good either. Sunday looks okay. We may be in for a little bit of hurry up and wait type of deal. The most important thing is I get there safely, and maybe we find a good bottle of bourbon on the way. All right. So the big news yesterday was that Fluno is pitching for the Cajuns. I'm going to go with that must mean that Texas may be right-handed laden. I don't know. I didn't think that was the case. Matt Deggs is very, despite being old school, so to speak, he's very new school when it comes to analytics. Said Fluno is the hotter of the pitchers. I'm not sure if I buy that. But he doesn't want the experience of Fluno compared to the freshman of Morgan. Gunnar Leger told Foote everybody's healthy, raring to go. I don't know if I'm buying that. If you got Herman and Langevin ready to go, that would be the team that you want. But okay. And I don't have a problem with Fluno. Fluno's got some great numbers, okay? Hasn't pitched all that much in terms of innings pitched, but I think he matches up pretty favorably with, is it Grubbs of Texas? Max Grubbs. Max has had a good season, about a 3.5 ERA, 3.41, 5-4 overall, pretty good whip, 1.28. He's made 11 starts. But in 70, he's given up 73 hits in 68 2/3 innings. That's not great. Now, the thing that he does pretty good is that he's pitching to contact. All right. Doesn't strike out a lot. 46 strikeouts in 68 2/3 innings. That's not very much, but it only walks 15. All right. If you go to Fluno doesn't walk that many. He's got, I think, 17 walks, but in about 15 less innings. Like he's got 15 walked in about 53 innings. So again, not that many walks overall, but more per game. Let's see here. Fluno, he's 4-0 with a 2.94 ERA. In 52 innings, he's walked 19 guys. So he walks a few more per inning, per 9. And he also only strikes out 47 in 52 innings. So that's almost, let's be honest, that's almost a strikeout per inning. All right. It's not LP Langevin, 100 strikeouts in 60 innings. But it is almost a strikeout per inning. The difference is that Fluno, opponents are only hitting 186 against him. Like, he's given up 35 base hits in 52 innings, whereas Grubbs has given up, what do we say, 73 hits in 68 2/3 innings. So what Deggs talks about all the time is the freebies, all right? Can't put guys on base because you have to be able to limit the damage when the hits start coming, right? If, they get 2 or 3 hits in a row, but there's nobody on base when that happens, all of a sudden, well, maybe they only score 1 run or 2. But all of a sudden, if you hit a guy and walk a guy, and now you got 2 on and 2 or 3 hits coming, now all of a sudden it could be 2 or 3 or more runs. So that's where the freebies got to not happen. I think I left my phone. Let me see if we got it here. I left my phone in the car. I'll be honest with you. I like the Cajuns in this ballgame. And I'm not just saying this. I think the Cajuns have the pitching advantage in this ballgame. All right. Let me see here. View all odds. Texas, what I saw was minus 130, and the Cajuns were even money. Like, I'm actually surprised. Oh, okay. So for money line, maybe I was looking at it differently. All right. So the money line for LSU is minus 315. Well, that's the, yeah. So that's winning or losing. Let me see what the Cajuns are. I thought I saw it was pretty even. I could have been looking at the wrong line. Not having bet baseball. No, it's changed a little bit. Texas is minus 125. The Cajuns are minus 105. So, I mean, that's basically, you're not making that much money. Where you compare it to like LSU is minus 315. For those who don't know, you bet 315 to win 100. Whereas if you take Wofford, you bet 100, you win 230. So those are heavy favorites. A&M and Grambling. All right. You bet the money line. You're betting on who's winning. I don't know what the run line is. They do have over-unders. A&M, minus 3,500 because they're going to win the game, right? Grambling, surprisingly, is only plus 14. You would think you'd get better than that. Cajuns Texas over-under is 10.5. How do I feel about that? I guess that I don't have a sense. My idea would be if it goes under, the Cajuns have a shot. Are better off because of Texas has the bats where they have, they have 4 guys with double-digit home runs. What do the Cajuns have? They have 3, and one of them is Connor Higgs. So DeBarge has 21. LaFleur has 11. He's actually your leadoff guy. And Higgs has 11. John Taylor's got 9. It's almost. But Texas does have the advantage in the home runs with 109 to about 75. So that's a little bit of a distinct advantage. But I like the Cajuns in this game. I think the Cajuns have a shot, a real shot. I'm not sure I thought that last year. And if we go back to last year, it kind of reminded by Deggs. Texas made a bunch of great defensive plays. And Foote reminded me Higgs missed a couple of home runs that just went foul. So those are the things that you need, right? If Texas don't make those plays, they're who knows what happens at that point in time, right? Then you take on Miami, and now instead of being eliminated, maybe you have confidence that you're going to win. So I think the Cajuns have a real shot at this. I really do. And then there was one prediction. Let me see if we can find it. Well, I don't think it was the D1. Was it 11.7? Let's see here. 11.7. They may have picked the regionals. Yeah, here are the regional picks, okay? Some of these were a little surprising. So 2 of them actually have Coastal Carolina winning the Clemson one. That's interesting. Let me see who that is. We got the pictures. I don't know who the guys are. Sorry, guys. I don't. I need the names of the guys. But someone is picking the Cajuns to win. That's one. And that's a lot to overcome. A&M's really good. But I think what we saw from A&M is what do they do after game number 1, right? So I presume the Cajuns are going up against, was it Prager? Yeah, that would be interesting. No one took JMU. And in the Raleigh, the guy taking the Cajuns, for that fact of the matter, is actually taking the 4 seed in the Raleigh. Is that High Point? Taking High Point. Rolling the dice there. Someone's taking Louisiana Tech, for that fact of the matter. LSU gets 2 out of the 3 votes. Let's see what they say here. Toughest regional is Greenville. All right. Someone's got the toughest regional, Greenville. Someone thinks it's Stillwater. Some thinks it's Tucson. Easiest regional is Lexington, Fayetteville, and Tallahassee. All right. Hardest to Omaha is Carolina because they got to go through. LSU. So we don't know who's pitching game 2, right? And again, I think that depends on who game 2 is. Is it A&M? Is it Grambling? Is it a win and you're still in? Is it a win and you're in the game number 3? I think that's really important. All right. That's Bryant in the High Point in the Raleigh. You could be right. Is it the Bryant Bulldogs? All right. We got. Hold on a second. Actually got a comment. Not used to that. That's Alex watching. All right. Thanks. Is Ben Upton on 11.7? Is that what you're saying? Or is the player on? Yeah, let me see here. Well, let's see here. Raleigh Regional. Raleigh Regional. I don't know why I did that. I probably just should have done NCAA. It is Bryant. Is it Bryant? Yeah, it is Bryant. All right, good call. Bryant Bulldogs. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Where's the High Point? Where is High Point? High Point may be in the Clemson Regional. No. That's Clemson, Vanderbilt. Oh, maybe that is High Point. All right. Maybe that is High Point. Oh, maybe that's where it is. Okay. All right. Thank you, Alex. Anyways, I think the Cajuns have a real good shot. If I had better odds, I'd take them. Like if they were plus 150, I'd be happier to take them than at minus 105. That's interesting. That Texas is minus 125 and the Cajuns are minus 105. I mean, that's basically slight favorites. Remember, depending on the weather, all right, be fair. Any A&M fans that are hanging out watching the Texas Cajuns game are going to be all for the Cajuns, right? This is going to feel like a true road game for Texas. But if the weather doesn't cooperate and people go home and don't come back, I presume the A&M fans, if they, stay in the, underneath the stadium, maybe they, you got to clear the stadium. Maybe you go out to the car, although the stadium is safer, probably underneath than the car. If it's a severe thunderstorm and, possible severe weather. But the Cajuns are going to be, the Cajuns will be well represented with Aggies fans, at least for tonight. All right. I think they got a real shot. Beating the Aggies is going to be something interesting. But I don't know who the Aggies are pitching in game 2. I haven't even seen game notes, and I presume all the teams are doing this, right? Why would you tell me your first 2 starters when you don't know who you're playing in the second game, right? It's not even trying to play gamemanship as like Jay Johnson is, whether he's going with Gage Jump or Luke Holman. Somewhere along the way, whether he tells us or not, the other team's going to find out before they do their lineup. I don't think that's I don't think he's going to hide it until he gives the lineup up at the home plate. But maybe that's a day less of we can watch film. We're going to only watch film for a couple of hours. Let me see if we got Texas A&M baseball notes. We do have baseball notes. Okay, they put them up. All right. Let's see where we are. It is for the Grambling game. All right. Projected starters, they are going Mason Martinez. I think, did we know that? Well, we didn't. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's Grambling. Tanner Jones is going for A&M. All right. Tanner Jones is making his first start since May 5th. What's the over-under in this one? Can we look at that? Because the one thing Grambling can do is hit. The over-under is 14.5 runs. I may take the over on that because A&M may be able to get to that on their own. Okay. Let's see. Mason Martinez for Grambling is 12-2. He's got a 4.33 ERA. Walks a little bit too much. But again, if anybody knows, about SWAC team, if you will, shoving up their backside. It may not be the Aggies, but the Cajuns are very well versed. Number 1 team in the nation, getting the last team in, Jackson State, and lose 1-0. Now they went on to win the regional. They did lose the super regional. I don't think that had anything to do with having to play 5 ball games, but they know about it. Tanner Jones is 3-1 with a 6.70 ERA. We told you about those strikes or walks. He walked 17 and 43 in 43 innings. He's got a 6.7 ERA. Let's see if we look at these stats. So they're going to go, if you get 3 innings, if A&M gets 3 innings out of their starter today, they're going to be thrilled. We're going to go once around the lineup. This is basically like a midweek ball game for A&M. At least that's the way they are handling it. I just want to see Mason's stats and game by game. Or not Mason. What did we say? Tanner Jones. Okay. Pitching. Tanner Jones. 1.5 whip. All right, stats. All right, game by game. All right. So the ERA. So these ERAs aren't great, right? At LSU, he gave up 3 runs on 3 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 2 2/3 innings. So that doesn't help out. The ERA isn't great. Now, he took one on the chin for the team somewhere along the way. And, almost 25% of his run total was 9 runs in an inning and a third against Georgia. So that is going to skew the ERA. All right. But, he had a run here of not very good outings. They were a month ago or more, month and a half ago. 6 runs, 5 earned on 4 1/3 innings at Alabama. Then gave up the 9 runs in an inning and a third against Georgia, and then the 3 runs against LSU. So we'll just do the earned runs. That's 17 of his 32 earned runs were in those 3 games. That's 4 and 8 1/3 innings. So that's where the ERA is skewed a little bit. All right. He did only give up 1 hit in 2 innings against Arkansas. That's pretty good. And then that looks like the against Tennessee is this SEC championship or SEC tournament. Again, 2 runs, 3 hits, and 2 in the 3rd inning. All right. But, I mean, he's only, what we say, he's made 17 appearances. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 appearances. Okay. He's given up runs in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the 13. Didn't give up any runs against Wagner. Didn't give up any runs against Rhode Island. Actually pitched very well against Vanderbilt. 7 in the 3rd inning, 6 base hits. But after that, it went downhill. Maybe he pitched too much in that one outing. He pitched extremely well against Vanderbilt. Then he got rocked at Alabama, rocked against Georgia, and then didn't pitch well against LSU, pitched well against Arkansas, and not so great against Tennessee. So he's given up a bunch of runs. But whoever is, I mean, again, Grambling can score. Grambling's got these great numbers, and we'll see if they put pressure on A&M to use some guys out of the bullpen that they don't necessarily want to use out of the bullpen, right? You may not have to use that many guys out of the bullpen with Prager, although he's only got 80 innings pitched. That could be because 79, to be honest with you. But that's not a whole lot for a guy who's made, 15 starts? Let's see. 15 starts. I was told there would be no math, but let's see here. 79 divided by 15. I mean, is that even 5? It's like 5 2/3 in 5 innings, 5.2 innings, an outing. So let's see. That's interesting that he has not pitched that much. He came out quickly against Tennessee. Did pitch 7 shutout innings against Arkansas. Gave up a run on 3 hits and 2 in the 3rd innings against Tennessee. 2 runs, struck out 10 against Ole Miss, 5 2/3 innings. 5 innings against LSU. 6 innings against Georgia. 3 against Alabama. I mean, I saw the Texas guys look at Fluno and said he hasn't pitched a whole lot. That's not a lot of innings, if you ask me. If we say, let's look at LSU for the sake of comparison. All right. Team stats. All right. Luke Holman in 15 starts. He's only pitched 85 innings. All right. That could be off. Gage Jump, 14 starts, 73 2/3. So maybe Paul Skeens is the aberration. All right. I know the Cajuns pitchers don't have a lot. That's for sure. That I do know. Right. One could say they're well rested. But Andrew Herman, 62 innings pitched. Chase Morgan, but Herman only made 12 starts. Chase Morgan, 12 starts, 68 1/3 innings. Langevin got the 60 innings pitched, which is crazy. Fluno's got 52 innings, made 13 starts, but we knew that he didn't have a lot. So, all right, maybe I'm wrong. All right. Although it just doesn't seem like when you're that good. Let's do Arkansas stats. Let's see what Hagen Smith is. That's not maybe fair. But let's see what Hagen Smith has. Stats. Season PTF. Hagen Smith, 15, 79 innings. All right. Schultz is wrong. Couldn't get any more perfect than that. All right. All right. I thought you would have more innings than that. It's only averaging less than 6 per outing. All right. Anyway, but we know that who A&M is going with today. We'll see if Grambling can put up any runs. And it's important for A&M not to use their big-time bullpen guys because they need to do the bullpen for Prager, right? For the next game, right? If you are, and we heard Chris Gordy say that's maybe where A&M has an issue, is the bullpen. So what are you hoping for Prager? I mean, if you got 7 out of him, that'd be amazing. Right now, we're looking like if you get 6 good innings out of him, you're happy with that. Well, can you get those 3 outs? Or can you get those 9 outs in those 3 innings? And how much does today's game affect you? And how much does the weather affect you, right? Right. They're not going to want to start a game and start and stop and start and stop and start and stop. All right. Now we'll see when those windows are, see if things change. Last night it looked like I was going to be driving through this weather. I still may be driving through this weather, but it also appears that if I get to Beaumont by 10 and start the bourbon hunt at that point in time, sorry, Mom, I could be pulled over, or the weather's dissipated and it reforms on the other side of Beaumont, or when the front gets into Louisiana and I'm clear sailing through Houston. Now, we'll see. It is all just predictions. Although Rob Perillo and crew got it right last night. That usually thunderstorms do not wake me up, and that one did. All right. So as much as we know who's pitching for A&M, Grambling, Texas, and the Cajuns, Jay Johnson didn't do it. We don't know who's pitching. I presume, again, it's Gage Jump or Luke Holman. I don't think it's going to be a big surprise. Wofford's got some bats. All right. And LSU does not have great depth, right? And, it is, you need to win the first 2 ball games and then hope the bats carry you. We went over it yesterday. They actually got better pitching in game 5 in the SEC championship game than they did in game 3 or in game 4. All right. So, again, I fully expect LSU to go 2-0, and then we'll see if they have enough pitching. All right. And then it doesn't matter. Are they hooked up with the Arizona one? Yeah, they may. It's crazy. Heading into that Ole Miss series, like they were not getting into the NCAA tournament, and LSU may find themselves in Omaha. A little bit of the luck of the draw, and a little bit of the our 2 top pitchers have finally figured things out. Also, the hitting has come around in a big way. If those bats stay hot, they'll be in good shape. And they're playing first thing today, right? Noon Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central. Morning baseball is great. I'll get it on an app or something like that. I doubt it's on XM, right? Those things aren't on XM just yet. Should be. I may be able to find it somewhere. But we'll be 11 a.m. We'll be on the way to Houston. Again, not risking anything with the weather. If I see the weather's coming and I don't want to be pulled over on the side of the road, that's the last thing I want. If it's a rest stop, that's different. But I definitely don't want to pull over on the side of the road where it could get dangerous. Someone doesn't see you. Someone slides into you anyways, even if they do see you. So I will pull off into a fast food joint or gas station just to ride out the storm. I am not. I have driven in some bad weather before. Worst weather was I lived in Jersey, and it was a snowstorm, and I'm going through the mountains to get from Jersey to Syracuse. Doesn't matter which way you go, you got to go through mountains. And I went through the Poconos, and I was on an 18-wheeler's tail. This guy was clearing the way for me. Let me tell you, I stuck. I think he knew I was behind him, but nobody was going really fast. And I just stuck to where I could see his lights. All right. Whatever was coming off his tires wasn't affecting me. And I somehow got into Scranton. It was icing up on my windshield. It was bad. And a 4-hour ride took like 6.5 hours. I could never do it faster than 4, but this took like 6.5 hours. I remember getting in at I left at 5, 9. I got in at like 10:30, 11. So 5.5, 6 hours. We are, and now being the age I am paranoid. The one thing you got to do is stay off the phone. That is, admittedly, that's an issue. Got to stay off the phone. Not talking, but just watching the Twitter. Don't need it. So I need to do a better job of that, admittedly. All right, so I like the Cajuns. I think LSU is going to win. They very may well win the regional. We'll see what the Cajuns do. I mean, they got a shot, right? Unfortunately, it's not going to be easy if they beat Texas and then lose to A&M. Boy, if you can hang tough in that A&M game, and that's going to be the thing, right? All the pressure's on A&M. There's no pressure on the Cajuns. I mean, the Cajuns want to win as much as anybody, but all the pressure's on A&M, right? They never win anything, and they're at home, and they get the Longhorns at home. Maybe they get the Group of 5 team, right? The Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns, right? The Group of 5 squad out of the Sun Belt. You can't beat them. The longer you go in a tight ball game and get into that A&M bullpen, you just never know, right? Cajuns have some pretty good clutch hitters: Pastore, DeBarge, Taylor, LaFleur, hell, Jose Torres. I mean, if you're worried about, that'd be one guy I wouldn't worry about, that the moment is too big, right? Plus, he's a first pitch fastball hitter. That's what they're going to start him off with. I jokingly asked him, when was the last time you let a first pitch fastball go? That's a good question. I don't really know. He's going to be, and he swings for the fences all the time. He does not get cheated out of his swing. He may shorten up a little bit with 2 strikes and go the other way, but he lets it rip. We'll see if Fluno is up for this, right? You just want a couple of clean innings to begin with. And then the big thing for the Cajuns pitchers, if you put up some runs, you can't let the other team get back in. That's what happened a couple of times against Coastal and against Troy. Every time they scored, they allowed the other team to score, either to extend the lead or get back in the ball game. And, the Cajuns could have very well taken 2 out of 3 from Coastal Carolina, but they could not hang on. They couldn't hang on against JMU. And then I would say the reverse has to be true. If you do fall behind, see if you can scratch across and scratch across and scratch across. And then all of a sudden, what was Tony makes that push matter? That's not the line that he uses. Makes it relevant, makes the push relevant, right? Like if you fall behind 5-1 and you keep it at 5, and all of a sudden you scratch across, run here, scratch across, run here, and all of a sudden it's 5-4. You got 2 on and 2 out, and Barge is at the plate, and he comes up with the clutch base hit. Now you've made the push relevant. But if you make it 5-1 and you get it to 5-3, and then it's 7-3, and then it's 7-5, and then it's 8-5, and the Barge comes up, now he needs a home run instead of a base hit. You want to make, I think that was the line, you want to make the push relevant. All right, the other news yesterday, Drew Brees going into the Saints Hall of Fame, and I guess something that I hadn't appreciated as a Patriots fan, and certainly as a Saints observer and a Saints fan since I arrived here. I'm unabashed, unapologetic homer, is we have watched the best player in Patriots history play and the best player in Saints history play, right? Saints couldn't quite, well, they did take advantage of it once. They couldn't take advantage of it twice. They did take advantage of it once. But, it's like if you miss John Elway with the Broncos, technically, I guess Aaron Rodgers is going to be the best player for the Jets, but he hasn't done anything for the Jets. So the best player for the Jets is still going to be Namath, or is it going to be one of those defensive guys, right? Dolphins was Marino. Didn't win anything, but, if you missed Marino, who was it before? Who was it before Brees is the thing. Is it Deuce? If Colston? Like, who's the second best Saints player of all time? Cam Jordan? Zach Strief? Like, who's the second best Patriots player of all time? I mean, here's the thing. John Hannah is probably the second best player in Patriots history. He's like one of the all-time great guards. He's probably the second best player. With all those, Willie McGinnis and our guy Kevin Falk, Tony Collins, James White, Curtis Martin. Some probably would say Curtis Martin. Yeah, Curtis Martin. Right. My guy Stanley Morgan, the late great Russ Francis, Steve Nelson in the middle, Julius Adams, Richard Seymour. There's some juice around, but I would probably I would say John Hannah is the second best Patriots player of all time. But the idea, that's not the point of the conversation. Point of the conversation is Drew Brees going to the Hall. Joe Buck came out, the Saints Hall of Fame. Joe Buck came out and said that he should get a second shot. Like, I forget, he was doing a Notre Dame game with a new crew, kind of set up to fail. So hopefully he gets another shot somewhere in there if he wants to do it. I don't think that Drew is a hot take artist. And so we'll see how Brady does, right? Because it's not brain surgery. And what they were doing playing quarterback is much more difficult than what, Aikman or, Tony Romo is doing. Romo was so refreshing to begin with. Now it's a little bit over the top. But you're trying to you got to say something distinct and you got to say it fast. You got 15 seconds. Maybe 25. That is not easy to do. Again, not brain surgery, but it's not necessarily a walk in the park. And it takes a little bit of time. And I haven't heard this. Are they practicing? Because I know Romo and Nance practiced. Like they did, I think, the Hall of Fame game. If they were supposed to do a Hall of Fame game. Is that the paint gate where the paint wouldn't allow it to happen? They did the Hall of Fame game. Like they practiced together. And so we're going to do the game together. And so, now you don't have to be in the same spot. You just get the video rolling and you're in Zoom and you're watching the game and hopefully the Wi-Fi works and, you can practice games. But Brees going in, obviously well-deserved. Doug Moreau going in, the longtime communications director for the Saints going in. So that was filled up in the timeline yesterday, and I think that's obviously well deserved. But it is a little deflating when you realize you've watched the best player to play, and where do we go from here? Right? Still doesn't feel like the Saints are heading in the right direction. It just doesn't. It does not feel that way at all. Not yet, anyway. Maybe they surprise. Some of the things that Derek Carr has said, I mentioned on my show, because you just don't get too many free agent quarterbacks. It just doesn't happen. Some trades, but usually there's not free agent quarterbacks. Happens very rarely. And so it takes a minute to adjust. And Carr didn't adjust last year. I'm not sure Dennis Allen adjusted last year. That's the problem. Now you're in it for a year. Hopefully he's healthy. Although it does feel like Derek Carr's one concussion away from hanging it up. I mean, how many concussions can you get? Let me see the Saints schedule. Let me see that. See what that is. Can you start hot? Let's see. So you got Carolina at home. You got to win that. You're at the Cowboys, probably going to lose that. Although people would tell you that's a winnable ball game. So 1-1. You get the Eagles at home. Are you going to win that? That's 1-2. You're at the Falcons. Not sure the Falcons are going to be as good as everybody thinks they are. But that's always tough. So you could be anywhere from 3-1 to 1-3. And then you're at Kansas City. That ain't great. Tampa Bay at home. Denver at home. That's on a Thursday. That's Sean Payton week. You're at the Chargers. They'll have figured things out by then. You're at Carolina. We'll see if they figure out things by then. Atlanta comes in November, early November. They got a tough spot. They are in a tough spot. I don't mind saying. They are in a tough spot. All right, so let me get going. I am mostly packed, which is impressive, bordering on spectacular. Got to put the finishing touches on that. Hopefully, we don't get too much weather. I will take a nap somewhere along the way. I'll go get one thing about the Red Bull or those energy drinks, they don't work once you're tired. It doesn't wake me up. It doesn't kick in. I'm not tired right now. Just finishing a big cup of coffee. The TMI portion of the show, that's going to go through me somewhere along the ride, so we'll have to pull over for that. And we'll just go get, Red Bull, see if I can get through. And again, I think there's going to be weather in College Station, so we're going to buckle up. And I don't think there's a big hurry to get there for the game. But the goal is to be there by 3. Probably will be there by 3. All right, that is the goal. All right. Lockdown Sunbelt, by the way. You know what? I didn't do this. You go over there. We'll have to do this next week. They had the Sunbelt over-unders. Cajuns were 8.5. That's a lot. I like 8. I can find 8 wins. 9's a little tough. Texas State was 8.5. And then they're like at 10. And they got a shot. App State was a little bit low, 7.5. And they have an early shot to impress. They're at Clemson, and then they're at East Carolina. Arizona State, who stunk last year, is going into San Marcos, and that's a Power 5 wins, Power 5 win. The Sun Belt has 14 games on national TV in the first 3 weeks. They absolutely have a shot to impress. And the Sun Belt Championship game is moved to prime time. You know what? I despise Sun Belt tiebreakers. All right. And I'll try to figure that out. But who hosts? App State and Texas State don't play. And I don't think Texas State plays JMU either. So those are the 2 favorites in the East. I would actually put App State as the favorite. JMU is also 8.5. I put App State as the favorite. I mean, if App State and Texas State are sitting there at 10-2 or better in the Sun Belt Championship game, and someone's 11-2 or 12-1, they're the team going to the playoff. Now, I would think they are the team going to the playoff. Plus, it's a national TV. It'll be going up against the Big Ten. The SEC is in the middle of the day. The Big 12 is usually in the morning, I think. They're usually in the morning. So they'll have and it's on ESPN. So they're going to have a huge audience. And then the bowl games and the playoff comes out the next day. Now, those 2 teams will have a chance to impress early, and the Sun Belt will have a chance to impress late. All right. Even the Cajuns, they get Tulane at home, and they're going to Wake. It could be one of those seasons where the Cajuns are 2-2 and just can't make those plays to win games. Or is it like Mike Desimo is saying, now is the time to step up? Maybe they make a play. Maybe they get a stop. Maybe they play like they did against Texas State last year and finish it off, or get the turnovers against South Alabama. Or do they play like they did against Georgia State, where they kept on fumbling the ball and couldn't finish it off at the end? Do they start 2-2? Or do the Cajuns start 4-0? And if the Cajuns start 4-0, they'll at least get some votes for top 25. I don't know if they'll be in the top 25, but you beat Tulane and you beat Wake, you're going to get considered. And all of a sudden, maybe the Cajuns are off to the races. All right. Again, I think Texas State is the favorite in the West. App State is the favorite in the East. But, the Cajuns have an opportunity to, and that Tulane game's at home. The Kennesaw State game may be a little scary. I have to look about that. I have to look at that one. That's a little scary. That's on the road. But the Cajuns absolutely have a shot to start anywhere from, I think, 2-2 to 4-0. And if they start 1-3, Des is going to be in the hot seat. You lose to Kennesaw State, Tulane, and Wake, that's a problem. That is going to be a problem. All right, Alex, thanks for checking in. Really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in to the Schultz Cast. We are rolling. We got 56 here on a Friday morning. I got 21 minutes to get out the door. We'll see if that's feasible. Tank is full of gas, but we're going to stop for a Red Bull on the way out of town. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. We will be in College Station reporting back. I'll probably do some updates and just throw those on Twitter, and then we can get the press conferences. Again, this looks like, unfortunately, it looks like Friday could be a long day. This could be a long weekend. I'm packing for 3 nights. You got to be done by Monday. So they could be packing in a whole lot of games between Sunday and Monday. And the only way you're playing on Tuesday is if it is absolutely necessary. So one of these days, Sunday and or Monday, could be a long day. I'm packing for 3 days. Now, we'll see if we need them all. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend, and please subscribe to the Schultz Cast.